Okay, so picture this. You're in the doctor's office, right? Heart's racing. You're trying to grasp all this medical jargon swirling around about your diagnosis or treatment plan.
Yeah,
Been there, done that, I'm sure. It's pretty common to feel overwhelmed and forget to ask like the most important questions.
absolutely. And that's exactly what Teach Me Now is trying to tackle.
It is that feeling of not just like understanding those complex medical terms, but feeling empowered in your healthcare journey.
Right, like when you're anxious or unsure.
Yeah, exactly. So today we're doing a deep dive into Teach Me Now, looking at it from all angles.
All the angles.
We've
Yeah.
got business plans, market analyses, even research on how doctors make decisions.
Wow,
It's a lot of
the
information.
gold mine.
It is a gold mine.
Yeah.
So can AI actually bridge that gap between doctor and patient? That's what we're going to try to figure out.
Yeah, we'll be examining Teach Me Now's potential, its business model, and the challenges it might face.
Yeah, so let's start with the basics. What exactly is Teach Me Now?
So think of Teach Me Now as your personal guide through this often confusing world of healthcare. It combines your own medical data with a huge library of validated medical knowledge
Oh, okay.
to give you tailored advice, almost like you have a doctor right there with you, breaking things down in a way that you can actually understand.
They're really setting the bar high.
Yeah,
Their mission statement is, we explain to you what your doctor did not.
yeah, they are.
Yeah.
It makes you think, how often do you walk out of an appointment and you have all these unanswered questions?
Right.
Teach Me Now aims to be that proactive voice, anticipating your needs and explaining things really clearly, even when you might be super anxious.
Mm. It's like having this like 24/7 virtual doctor.
Yeah.
But how does the AI actually work?
So at its core, Teach Me Now uses these sophisticated AI algorithms,
Okay.
and they're modeled after the way doctors diagnose and reason.
Interesting.
It takes your medical history, your current symptoms, and all this vast amount of medical data to create a really personalized picture
Okay.
and then offer you tailored advice.
So it's not just spitting out generic answers.
No, not at all.
It's analyzing your specific situation.
Exactly. And the best part is it learns and improves over time.
Oh, wow.
The more data it processes, the more refined its suggestions become. Just like a doctor honing their skills through experience.
Kind of amazing. So they highlight all these real-world applications where this could be super helpful.
Yeah.
Talking about things like emergency room visits, navigating a cancer diagnosis, managing complicated medical conditions.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing the breadth of situations they're trying to tackle.
It is.
From the stress of an ER visit to managing these long-term chronic conditions, Teach Me Now wants to be there to give you clarity and support when you need it most.
Okay, so we've talked about the what and the how. Now, where does Teach Me Now fit into the larger healthcare picture?
Well, this is where things get really interesting because we're talking about the personalized medicine market,
Okay.
and it's booming. Some projections put it at $800 billion by 2030, and some are saying close to $910 billion.
Wow, that's huge.
Massive growth.
Yeah, clearly there's a big demand for these personalized healthcare solutions.
Hmm.
But what makes Teach Me Now stand out?
Well, a few things, I think. One, their algorithms are designed to mirror how doctors think,
Oh, interesting.
so leading to potentially more accurate and relevant advice.
Okay.
Also, they're targeting those who are often overlooked by traditional healthcare.
Who's that?
So we're talking high utilizers,
Yeah.
elderly patients, and the uninsured.
That's a smart move going for the people who need it most.
Yeah, they're not just entering market, they could actually revolutionize access to information.
Yeah, and their approach kind of reminds me of Warby Parker's strategy.
Oh, interesting.
Hold on, Warby Parker and healthcare. Explain that one.
Well, it's all about accessibility and affordability.
Okay.
So just like Warby Parker shook things up in the eyewear industry with their affordable direct-to-consumer options, Teach Me Now wants to do the same for personalized healthcare guidance.
So instead of going through these costly doctor visits or navigating insurance, Teach Me Now offers a more direct and cost-effective way to get that information.
Exactly. And they're even using a similar customer acquisition approach.
Like what?
Targeted digital marketing, partnering with community organizations, user-friendly digital platforms, all to reach those underserved populations.
Interesting. You know, there's also this concept of a shadow healthcare system that's mentioned in the material.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of ominous.
It does a little bit, but I think it represents a potential shift in healthcare delivery.
Okay.
Essentially, this shadow healthcare system operates outside of traditional, heavily regulated structures.
So a bit of a legal gray area.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah.
It could offer cheaper, more accessible solutions,
Okay.
but potentially with fewer safeguards and less oversight, kind of like the gray markets for tech or medication.
I see the connection now. Where does Teach Me Now fit into all this?
Well, TeachMeNow could become a major player in this shadow system,
Okay.
especially for those who are priced out of traditional healthcare.
Right.
But it's a double-edged sword.
In what way?
It could either widen existing inequality or democratize access to information. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Before we get ahead of ourselves, let's talk competition. Teach Me Now isn't alone in the digital health space.
You're right. Ada Teladoc Health, Babylon Health, even WebMD are mentioned as competitors.
So it's a pretty crowded field.
It is. But Teach Me Now has some things that set it apart.
Like what?
Their focus on personalized guidance through your medical history is more advanced than some of the competition.
Okay.
And then there's those doctor-derived algorithms aiming for accuracy, mimicking clinical reasoning.
Right.
And, of course, their emphasis on cost-effectiveness and community-based solutions.
Those are some strong points.
Yeah.
Especially in a market where affordability and accessibility are so important.
Yeah, definitely. And they're already looking ahead to integrating with healthcare systems and wearable tech.
Okay, so let's get into like the nuts and bolts of building this platform.
Sure.
What does Teach Me Now's team look like, and what's their plan?
Well, the leadership team has some impressive credentials.
Oh, yeah?
Dr. Paul J. Lee, the CEO, is an ophthalmologist,
Okay.
but he's also got a strong coding background. And Dr. Augustine Lee, the CMO, is a former chair of pulmonology at Mayo Clinic.
So a blend of medical expertise and tech savvy.
Yeah, a solid foundation.
Yeah.
However, they're planning to bootstrap the development of their MVP
What's the budget?
on a budget of $200,000,
Mm-hmm.
which is ambitious to say the least.
200,000. For an AI-powered healthcare platform,
Yeah,
that's a tight budget.
it is. To make it work, they're relying heavily on AI coding tools to speed up development and keep costs down.
Okay.
So the team is lean, mostly contract workers, no dedicated project manager.
So a lot riding on a small team and limited resources.
Yeah.
Are there any concerns with that approach?
Oh, definitely. There's potential pitfalls, budget overruns, time crunches, potential compromises on quality.
Yeah, those are real risks.
Very real.
Yeah.
And they also have to be super careful about regulatory compliance and security, especially when you're dealing with sensitive patient data.
So even with the right expertise, building this platform is no easy feat.
Not at all. It'll be interesting to see how they handle these challenges.
It will. But for now, let's shift gears and talk about Teachmenow's future. What are they hoping to achieve, and what opportunities are they looking at?
Well, their business plan lays out some pretty ambitious goals for expansion and innovation.
Like what?
They're looking to capitalize on the growing demand for personalized medicine,
Okay.
naturally. And they plan to integrate with wearable tech, and they're even thinking about offering telemedicine services eventually.
Wow.
Yeah, there's good reason to be optimistic.
Uh,
Continuous advancements in AI and machine learning, the rising popularity of these remote healthcare solutions.
right.
It all creates a really favorable environment for a platform like TeachMeNow.
Sounds like they're aiming to really shake up the healthcare landscape.
Yeah.
Every opportunity has its own set of challenges, right?
Of course, data privacy and security are going to be paramount.
Right.
They'll need to make sure their AI is accurate and ethically used, all while staying ahead of the competition from these established telehealth providers.
And let's not forget the regulatory hurdles. Navigating healthcare regulations is not a simple task.
Absolutely. And then there's building consumer awareness.
Yeah, in a crowded digital health market, how do you stand out?
Exactly. It requires a smart and consistent marketing strategy.
So Teach Me Now has a lot on its plate. Ambitious goals, a lean team, and plenty of potential obstacles. It's going to be quite a ride.
It is.
Yeah.
But amidst all the excitement and the potential, some deeper questions emerge.
Okay, you've piqued my interest. What are these deeper questions?
Things like, could this technology, despite its good intentions, contribute to a two-tiered healthcare system?
What do you mean?
One where those with access to technology have an advantage.
That's a good question.
And how do we ensure the ethical and responsible use of AI in healthcare? Especially when you're dealing with something as sensitive as personal medical information.
Wow, those are thought-provoking questions. Questions we all need to consider as AI becomes more part of our lives.
Absolutely.
Especially in areas like health.
Yeah, and those are the kinds of questions we'll be exploring as we continue our deep dive into Teach Me Now.
Okay.
But before we get into that, let's delve a bit deeper into the human element of Teach Me Now.
Oh.
One of the interesting aspects is how they're tackling the issue of patient anxiety. Because they aren't just delivering information.
Right.
They're actively working to anticipate patient needs and concerns.
Yes. And this is where their approach to AI development seems to really stand out.
Exactly. They're not just feeding data into a machine learning model and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
They're trying to truly understand how doctors think and make decisions.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. One of the sources mentions this research that Teachmenow did into provider decision-making processes.
Oh, interesting.
They use this really detailed questionnaire to map out exactly how doctors approach, like, diagnosis and treatment planning.
Fascinating. Does that research offer any insights into how they're actually developing their AI?
It does. One of the key findings was the role of heuristics in doctors' thinking.
Heuristics. Remind me what those are again.
So heuristics are essentially mental shortcuts
Okay.
that we all use, including doctors, to make decisions faster.
Okay.
For example, an experienced doctor might recognize a pattern of symptoms they've seen tons of times before
Right.
and use that to quickly come to a likely diagnosis.
Okay, I see. So Teachmenow is trying to build AI that can not only access all this medical knowledge,
Right.
but also make those intuitive leaps that experienced doctors make.
Exactly. They're analyzing these heuristics to understand the nuances of clinical judgment
Okay.
and build those insights into the platform's algorithms.
So in a way, they're trying to teach the AI to think like a doctor, not just know like a medical textbook.
That's a great way to put it. And this approach to human-centered AI design is reflected in their real-life use cases.
Okay.
Like they highlight the scenario of an ER visit for chest pain.
Right. That's a situation where clear communication and understanding are absolutely crucial.
Absolutely. Imagine a patient arrives at the ER, scared, struggling to process everything that's happening around them.
Yeah.
Doctors are running tests, but the patient may not fully understand what those tests mean
Right.
or what the potential outcomes could be.
In that kind of high-stress situation, feeling informed can make a huge difference for the patient's peace of mind.
Exactly. And that's where Teachmenow could come in.
How so?
While the patient's being stabilized, the platform could be providing these clear and simple explanations.
Okay.
Like outlining the purpose of each test, or what the results might show, what the next steps might be.
It's like having an advocate by your side, guiding you through this complex and potentially frightening experience.
Exactly.
I can see how valuable that would be. And this approach seems especially relevant for the groups Teachmenow is focusing on.
Yeah.
High utilizers, elderly patients, and the uninsured.
Yes, because those are the groups that often need the most support in understanding and navigating their healthcare.
Right.
Teachmenow could be really beneficial for situations involving chronic conditions,
Yeah.
where patients need to make ongoing decisions about their care.
Okay, we've talked about the tech, the market, the human element. Let's move on to the development process itself. They're aiming to build an MVP, right?
Yes, a minimum viable product,
Okay.
a version of the platform with just enough core features to showcase its potential and attract those early adopters.
And they're planning to do all this on a budget of $200,000.
Correct. It's a lean budget, but they believe they can make it work.
Wow.
By utilizing AI coding tools,
Mm-hmm.
a small team of contract workers, and a very focused development plan.
Let's break down that development plan. What are the key phases?
So they've outlined a 6-phase process.
Okay.
It starts with gathering requirements and prototyping, then moves into AI development,
Okay.
then building the back-end and front-end testing deployment, and finally planning for maintenance and support.
So they've allocated specific timeframes and resources for each phase?
Yes. They estimate the whole process will take about 24 weeks,
Wow.
which is about 6 months.
Okay.
And their budget's divided between personnel infrastructure tools and miscellaneous expenses.
It's a detailed plan, especially considering their limited resources.
It is.
But as we discussed earlier, there are inherent risks with any project like this.
Of course, budget overruns are always a possibility.
Right.
Time constraints could lead to compromises on quality,
Yeah.
and there's always the challenge of regulatory compliance and ensuring data security.
Right, which are critical when you're handling sensitive medical information.
Exactly.
And managing a small team of contract workers without a dedicated project manager adds another layer of complexity.
It does. To succeed, they'll need to be highly organized and efficient
Yeah.
to deliver a high-quality MVP within their budget and time frame. It's a delicate balancing act.
It sounds like they have their work cut out for them.
They do.
But if they can pull it off, the potential rewards seem substantial.
Absolutely. A successful MVP wouldn't just validate their concept.
Right.
It would be a stepping stone to securing future funding and expanding the platform's reach.
Speaking of future plans, their roadmap includes some ambitious goals. They're not just aiming for a standalone app. They envision a whole ecosystem of personalized healthcare services.
That's right. Their plans include features like integration with electronic health records,
Okay.
personalized health plans tailored to individual needs and conditions,
Wow.
and even the potential for offering telemedicine consultations directly through the platform.
It's a bold vision that could really change how patients access and manage their healthcare.
And they're not limiting themselves to the U.S. market.
Oh, really?
They're exploring global expansion, recognizing the worldwide need for accessible, personalized healthcare support.
It's a story of ambition, innovation, and a real desire to make a positive impact.
It is. But as we've discussed, there are challenges and potential downsides. It's not a guaranteed success story.
Which is what makes it so compelling.
Right.
We're watching the development of a potentially disruptive technology.
Yeah.
Only time will tell if it revolutionizes healthcare or fades away.
Exactly. The story of Teachmenow is just beginning.
It is.
It'll be fascinating to see how they navigate this complex world of healthcare technology and human psychology.
Agreed. Now, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about Teachmenow's approach to the market.
Okay.
Their business plan seems to have some unique elements.
It does. Their customer acquisition strategy, for example, is quite targeted. They've identified a very specific audience: high utilizers, elderly patients, and the uninsured.
Right, we touched on this earlier, but what's the reasoning behind focusing on those groups?
Well, these are the populations that often face the biggest challenges navigating the complexities of the healthcare system.
Okay.
Like high utilizers, they might have chronic conditions that require frequent doctor visits and a lot of information to process.
And elderly patients often have trouble understanding and managing their health, especially as technology becomes more integrated into healthcare.
Exactly. And then there's the uninsured who might have limited access to healthcare in the first place.
Right.
So they rely heavily on online resources for information.
So Teach Me Now is really targeting a segment of the population with a real need for this type of service.
They are.
Seems like a smart strategy both from a business and a social impact perspective.
It does. And they're not just casting a wide net. They have a multi-pronged approach.
Oh, okay. How so?
They're going to utilize digital marketing, SEO optimization, social media to reach potential users directly.
Makes sense. Those are demographics that are already comfortable using technology and searching for information online.
Right. But they're also going beyond just online advertising.
Okay.
They plan to partner with organizations that already serve these populations.
Like what kind of organizations?
Things like accountable care organizations,
Mhm.
third-party administrators, community health centers.
So working within those existing healthcare networks
Huh.
to reach the people who need it most.
Exactly. And a key part of their strategy is affordability.
Okay.
They want to offer solutions that are significantly more cost-effective than traditional healthcare,
Right.
potentially through like a subscription model, making it accessible regardless of insurance status.
It's a disruptive approach that could really shake things up.
It could.
You know, their plan isn't just focused on individuals, though. They also want to partner with healthcare providers, right?
Yes, they see an opportunity to integrate Teach Me Now right into clinical workflows.
So imagine a doctor using the platform to help with patient education.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A doctor could use Teach Me Now to provide really detailed explanations of diagnoses, treatment plans, even basic health information,
Okay.
all tailored to the patient's level of understanding.
That could save a lot of time
It could.
and improve patient comprehension.
Yeah. And potentially lead to better adherence to treatment plans.
It seems like a win-win for both doctors and patients. I imagine hospitals and insurance companies would also be interested.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything that could potentially reduce readmissions and improve overall health outcomes.
Right.
They're even exploring partnerships with health insurers to offer the platform as a value-added service to their members.
So they're really building a multifaceted business model, catering to individuals, providers, and the larger healthcare ecosystem.
And they're not stopping there.
What else?
They also see potential revenue streams from data licensing, white labeling the platform for other organizations,
Okay.
and even offering specialized educational modules through in-app purchases.
Wow. Their ambition is impressive.
It is.
But let's not forget about those potential risks and challenges.
You're right. We've discussed some of them, but it's worth emphasizing how crucial it'll be for them to navigate those obstacles effectively.
Yeah, data privacy and security are absolutely essential when you're dealing with medical information.
For sure.
They need to be incredibly careful about HIPAA compliance every step of the way.
Absolutely. And then there's the challenge of keeping those AI algorithms accurate and free from bias.
Right.
That's a major concern. They'll need to be transparent and more active about addressing it.
Not to mention staying ahead of the competition in a field that's constantly evolving.
All valid points. But despite those challenges, Teach Me Now is trying to tackle a real problem with a unique and innovative approach.
They are. And they're doing it with this combination of medical knowledge, technological expertise, and a genuine commitment to patient empowerment.
I agree. It's too early to say for sure,
Mm.
but they have the potential to make a real difference.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm left with a feeling of cautious optimism.
Yeah.
Their success really depends on a lot of factors, but it's definitely a journey worth watching.
Well said. The future of healthcare is being shaped right now, and companies like Teachmenow are leading the charge.
I think that's a great point to end on. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into Teach Me Now.
My pleasure.
It's been a fascinating look at an emerging technology that could have a major impact on the future of healthcare.